problem. And I think this is the biggest mistake they're making. Because if there is to be a solution to the Tibetan problem, or the problem that China has as a result of its invasion of Tibet, if there were to be a solution, the key to the solution is His Holiness. Without him, they won't be able to find a solution.
The Dalai Lama has now sent his envoys to Beijing 6 times in the past 5 years for negotiations. But there has been little progress.
Tibet is really the Achilles heel of China. Although it's a tiny population, less than 6 million people, it seems to be seen by China as a place where if they make a major concession there, it will trigger all kinds of demands for concessions elsewhere. So the Chinese have reasons to be scared. The Dalai Lama's effort is to try to calm those fears and get them to the negotiating table.
To hold the culture together, the Dalai Lama gives dozens of public teachings on Buddhism around the world. When he's at home in Dharamsala, the lines are always long, and the main temple adjoining his residence fills with the curious and the devout. Each summer, a delegation of Buddhists from Taiwan come for a special teaching. Like Tibet, Taiwan is territory China claims as its own, but Taiwan has maintained its independence. This year, a handful of Chinese from the mainland attended the teaching, but they asked to be hidden from view. Security officials said the visitors feared just being seen in the presence of the Dalai Lama would mean reprisals when they returned home. But this spiritual man, who calls himself a simple monk, does not focus on the fear. He sees instead hope. Hope that individual Chinese people will eventually sway the Communist Party's hard line. On October 17th, the United States Congress will award the Dalai Lama its highest civilian honor, the Congressional Gold Medal. President George Bush plans to be there for what will be his 4th meeting with the Dalai Lama. And again, the Chinese are protesting, saying the award, quote, damages China-U.S. relations. But as he has throughout his 48 years in exile, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama takes both the honors and the threats in stride.
Your Holiness, you've been very patient with me, and I appreciate it. I would like to ask a personal question. What's next for you as a person? You have been and are the Dalai Lama. You've won the Nobel Prize. You've been applauded in virtually every country of the world. What's next for you?
Now, person who beyond 70 now, I think within the next few days, I reach 72 years old. As a believer of rebirth, so I think time for preparation for next life also important.
His sense of humor about himself, or even about reincarnation, never fades. And while he hopes to turn over his political duties to the recently elected Tibetan government in exile, his sense of purpose makes retirement unlikely for a man who is one of the world's most honored citizens.
Now here, since now last 6 years, more than 6 years, we already have elected political leadership. So since then, my position is something like a semi-retired position. So I don't know when I got the full retirement. That I don't know. Perhaps within a few years, I may have that.
Thank you so much, Your Holiness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it.
The relationship between China and Tibet is filled with complexity, nuance, and history. It is also, make no mistake,
filled with explosiveness and danger. The U.S. government, whether led by Republicans or Democrats, always expresses sympathy for the Tibetans' plight. But that sympathy and empathy gets overwhelmed by economic and geopolitical concerns. Tibet is a moral issue, but money and big power relationships dim and dilute it. Who weeps for Tibet? Not many, not nearly enough. There's not much in that for the Dalai Lama's hope and optimism, but it is the reality. For HDNet, from Dharamsala, India, Dan Rather reporting. Good night.